our Trusty Tools bundle. So this is the Trusty Tools stamp set, and it does have a coordinating die set that I left over on my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. But as you can imagine, there is a die to cut the tape measure and the paintbrush and the wrench and the hammer and the pencil. There is a die that does pegboard, cuts pegboard out of stuff. What else? Because I got some pieces here that I'd cut out. There's a die that makes a little tiny nuts and bolts. So there's a lot of fun dies in this. So we're going to make what I'm going to call a girl card using tools, because girls use tools. I use tools all the time. I can fix stuff. I mean, not really well, but I can fix stuff. I know how to use a tool. So we're going to use some tool stamps today. So we're going to start this out by bringing in a piece of gray granite cardstock for our card base. And then we have a piece of white that's 4 by 5 1/4. Also for the outside. I got a piece of black. The most important thing is that it's 4 inches across. We're going to cut it on the angle, so it doesn't have to be completely 5 1/4, but you know, ish. And then I have a piece of white for the inside, also 4 by 5 1/4. Then I did cut a strip off of the Trusty Toolbox Designer Series papers. This is one of the papers you can get for free with your celebration order of $50. And a lot of these tools can be fussy cut out, or some of them I think you can cut out with the dies, like the wrench and the pencil and the hammer can be cut out with the dies, and some of the other things you would need to fussy cut with scissors, but they're really cute. Great color combination. We've got some red and some copper and some Lost Lagoon, some crushed curry, just a wide variety of colors. So what I'm going to do is I am going to lay my strip of ruler across this black, and I'm going to just start cutting. Okay, so you can use a paper trimmer if you want, but you certainly don't have to, because it doesn't matter if it's perfectly cut, because you're just going to put the ruler over it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this black to the bottom of my white layer for the front. So your white and your black should be the same width. It'll just make it easier. Okay, so I just have my black layer put on that, and now I'm just going to add my ruler piece. Wherever I kind of think I want it, that's where I'm going to put it. I'm not going to stick it on yet, because I am going to do some die cutting and stamping, and then I'm going to try to place my tools and then figure out where everything's going to go. So I need some, oh, I have them already, some gray granite and some Mambo scraps. And I'm going to stamp, let's see, we got the paintbrush and the wrench and the hammer. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to stamp the top of the hammer on the gray granite. I need a scratch paper, because I don't like getting ink on my glass mat, because I know how I am and I'll make a mess. So I just need the top of my hammer. I don't need the handle. I also just need the top of my wrench. So there's the top of my wrench. And then I just need the brush part of my paintbrush. So I'll just get all of these stamped on our gray granite. Okay. Then we're going to bring in the Melon Mambo, and we're going to do the opposite end. So I'm going to want the handles of all of these pieces. So there's the handle of my brush. Actually, you know what? I need a little more of the handle, because I just do. There we go. And then the handle of the hammer. There we go. Handle of the hammer, and then the handle of the wrench. And I think I can get that on here. Yes, I can. Okay, so we have all of that. I am going to bring in my Melon Mambo, because I am going to add some paint, quote unquote, to the end of this. Which way do I, because I already cut these out, so I got to see which way I actually stuck this on here. I think I stuck it on upside down. So I think it actually kind of goes like this. But I didn't stick it on like that. I stuck it on with the with the pointy part at the top, so that looks stupid, but pretend that it's correct. Okay, because I already die cut everything. So here's my handle of my hammer, my handle of my paintbrush, my handle of my wrench, the top of my hammer, top of my wrench, top of my paintbrush. Oh, I almost forgot. I also needed to get the tape measure out of gray granite also. And then in the die set is this little extra piece that you can use to kind of jazz up your tape measure. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to add these colored pieces to our neutral pieces. I don't want to say boring because it's not boring. It's just neutral. All right. So let's see. I'm going to add my hammer to the hammer here. So I already kind of cut these off a little bit. And if they're not cut right, then we're just going to fix them. Come on, you. That's not where you want to go. You want to go right above that. There. Okay, so there's my hammer. There's my tape measure. Let's get our wrench handle here. There we go. Aren't these girl tools super cute? I thought they were. Okay, and then we're going to get the paintbrush. Actually, I'm going to cut some of that off because I don't need all of it. Get the paintbrush on there, and there we have our tools for our girl card. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the tools over a little bit. I am going to stamp my sentiment on the front here, and my sentiment says, "You're the most awesome." Okay, so I got to figure out whereabouts am I going to put my tape. Something like that. And then I'm going to stamp my sentiment about right here. Okay. And then I think I'm going to add my ruler piece here. Just kind of add some glue down the edge like so. And then we'll add our ruler piece. So I'm going to tell you how big my ruler piece is. I think that's about where I want it to be. Something like that. I think this is about 3/4 of an inch. Let me measure it. Yes, it's 3/4 of an inch, and the length that I started out with is about 5.5. So now I can cut this off. And there we go. You can see I have a few little tool stamps on there. I was messing around with my card to see what I wanted to do with it. There we go. And I am going to stamp some of those little goodies. I'm going to end up putting my tape measure something kind of about like that. So then I'm going to bring in some crushed curry and the little bits here. This is the nuts and screw. And let's see, where else do I want it? Maybe like right here. And then I'm going to add, yeah. So I could do this with dimensionals or without, however you want to do it. Maybe I will do a dimensional here. Do I want a mini on there? Maybe. Let's see. Is a mini going to fit? I think it might. Just barely. Okay. So I kind of covered up those, which is fine. I didn't necessarily want that there. And then I'm going to add my tool pieces here. Let's see. How do I want to throw those on there? Now, I think I want one of them upside down, kind of maybe a little bit cattywampus. Maybe something like this. And then I have those little bits that we talked about, and I'm going to add my little bits on there. Let's do some minis on this wrench. Oh goodness, get off there. There we go. Okay, and then our wrench is going to go about like so. And then we're going to bring our paintbrush in here. I think those two are good. And then I'm going to just kind of maybe tuck it under my wrench, and then my hammer. We'll use a big dimensional here and then a couple down the handle. There we go. And get that off. Okay, and then maybe kind of up here a little bit onto the ruler piece. And then we have a few of these little bits left, so let's go ahead and add some bits. And sometimes if I think I have too much glue, I will purposely take it off with my finger. So now I have glue on my finger, and if I just rub it on my hand and then brush my hand over to the floor, the glue is gone. But I think the key is to not use too much. So I'm just barely squeezing this to try to get the glue out. And that works pretty good for me. All right, we'll get that little guy maybe right there. Actually, I think I'm going to stop because I think there's a rule of odds when you're putting things on. And so we're just going to leave it at the odd pieces, and then we're just going to add this to the front. Okay. And we'll get that on there like so. Try to center it as best we can. The eyes that we have been given, or the eyes that now don't work so good for us. There we go. Isn't that cute? I know, I love it. Okay, so then for the inside, do I have my inside here? So here's my inside piece. Now I did go ahead and use the, what do you call that thing? The pegboard die. I almost couldn't find it. I was panicking because I borrowed this from someone else. Okay, so it's about 1 inch. So what I did was I stuck the pegboard on. Can you see how I've done that? So I had this, I don't know, what's that, about a 1/16 of an inch. I ran it through once, and then I moved the pegboard down and I connected it into some of the open holes, and then I ran it through again. So I have this pegboard piece. So I'm going to stick this to the bottom of this layer, and then I do have another little tiny strip of the ruler that I'm going to add to it, okay? So first of all, I'm going to chop this off because it's way too long, and I don't need it to be quite this long. So it's supposed to be 4 inches, so I'm going to make it a little tiny bit longer than 4. And when I put glue on this, I'm going to try to be careful and try to put it in between the dots, if I can. Like that, and then maybe down here at the bottom. And I don't know if you guys can see, my bead of glue is so thin. It's so thin that it's almost started to dry over here already. It's so thin. That, I think, is the clue to using liquid glue. Don't use very much. Because it's good glue. It sticks good. You don't need to slather it. You know what I mean? You don't need to slather something to get it to stick. And I think that might be the issue with a lot of people, is maybe you think you need a lot of glue to make something stick. And with this stuff, you honestly do not. Okay, so then I'm just going to cover down to the top row of holes. That. All right, and then I'm going to snip off the excess here. Oh, yay. Okay, then we have the cute little thank you image in the stamp set, and I'm going to do that in some gray granite, I think. We'll see. We'll see how it's going to work. So if I ink up my little thank you here, try to stamp it in the, it doesn't look like there's ink on this, but I mean there is, but it just doesn't look like there is. Okay. And then, ooh, look at this. I have one of these little nuts left. Let's go ahead and add this next to our thank you. Like right there. Yes. Okay. So now we can stick this on the inside of the card, and then it is done. And you could put that ruler paper on the envelope too if you wanted. But yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah, I really, really, really like this card. Is it okay to pat myself on the back? Sometimes you get a win, and there it is, the girl card. Yay!